Yeah, great, Angel. I'd just like to question, let's recap from where we left off. What is the conversation that you would say a rep should have when they seem like they've run out of their one market and they just can't seem to get more people into the funnel, into the baseball field? What's the conversation that one should have to regenerate and start creating some momentum?
Well, that's a good question, Steve. I get asked that question all the time. I appreciate you asking. Mainly, you got to get the language down. And the language that we have to master is deregulation of energy. It's network marketing. It's capitalizing on the biggest transfer of wealth ever in the history of American business. I'm not just saying that. People like Warren Buffett said a while ago, he said the deregulation of energy will create the largest transfer of wealth. And when you have that language and you internalize it, when you believe it yourself, you got to understand this, Steve. There's millions, tens of millions of people in America right now looking for an opportunity. Would you agree with me on that?
Absolutely.
So if you agree on that fact, you will have to understand that people that you want to approach in this business, and my attitude is this, that they are looking for this business. Whether I show them the opportunity or somebody else shows them the opportunity, they're still looking. So whenever I consider that and whenever I think about that, it's my job to be the one to show it to them. Now, you have to approach them the right way. And here comes the key in this business, in this industry, and it's called third-party edification. You have to edify someone else. You see, Steve, would you agree with me that I, as a senior vice president, and you see me present, do you think I present the opportunity pretty well?
Absolutely.
See, but I don't become the issue here. See, let's say if I approach you, if you and I are friends and we haven't seen each other for a while, and I approach you and I say, Steve, listen, after saying hi and all that regular chit-chat, I approach you and I say, Steve, would you be open for a huge business opportunity in the deregulation of energy? Would you be open to learn more about that?
Sure.
And if you say yes, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to edify somebody else. I'm going to say, great, Steve, listen, I am working directly with an executive trainer or an executive director or a national director or a senior vice president, whatever rank I want to put out, whoever I want to edify. I tell them that position. Like, let's say if I want to talk with Sean, edify Sean, your brother, and I say, I'm working directly with an executive trainer of an Inc. 500 company. He's leading the national expansion for this company. I would love to put you on the phone with him for about 5 minutes. Do you have 5 minutes available so that, see if I can get him available so he can explain to you what he's explaining to me? If you hear what I heard, together we're going to make a lot of money in this industry. Are you excited about that?
Oh, yeah, that sounds pretty simple.
It's very simple.
And to a lot of the reps, I know that they probably haven't heard that conversation, so they don't know how to have the conversation.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the advantage in that conversation, Steve. Number one is duplicatable. Anybody and everybody literally can talk about somebody else. Would you agree with me on that?
Yes.
You see, because if I came ahead and I try to approach you directly about 5 lakes and deregulation of energy or digital telecom or whatever it is that we're doing, I think I may do a good job, but here's what you're going to be thinking in your mind. Most people will be thinking, well, I don't have that language. I cannot talk like you. No wonder you're going to be successful because you know exactly what to say. I can't speak like that. But if I went ahead and introduced somebody else, in your mind you're thinking, wow, all I have to do is introduce somebody else. Can you introduce people, Steve?
Yeah.
Have you done it in the past?
Yeah. Absolutely,
everybody has. So see, if we keep it simple, we duplicate that. Now, here's what happened, and this is happening to me all the time. Whenever I edify somebody else, and most likely, as you know, I'm frontline to the company, whenever I edify somebody else, most likely I edify somebody else in my team. When those people come into a BOM or they get started in the company, they look at me and say, Angel, but you are the senior vice president above you. You just introduced an executive trainer to me, and based on what I see in the comp plan, you're way up ahead. And I say, well, at the beginning, I didn't tell you I was an SVP. I just told you I wanted to introduce somebody else, right? Yes. And when you heard the position of executive trainer, Did you think that person was really high in the Inc. 500 company? He says yes. Well, exactly. That's duplicatable. See, this is what I want you to do. I want you to edify somebody else. You edify me or somebody else, because this is all about teamwork.
Absolutely. That's a great nugget. What would you say that a new IMR coming into the business should focus on? I get this all the time. Should they focus mainly on gaining customers or focusing on the recruitment process? Is it a healthy balance? What would you say would be the best information to provide an IMR just coming to the business as what should be their main focus? And of course, this is after their 5 Links University and all of their training requirements are done. That's most important. So yeah, after they've done those trainings, what would be their next focus?
Oh, that's a heck of a question. That's $1 million question right there, and I get asked that all the time. And here's what I learned. I learned that, Steve, whenever I see someone, whether I know them or I just met them, let's say I met them doing grocery shopping or pumping gas at a gas station, like I met this kid a couple of days ago. I'm over here with my brand new BMW X6. I'm pumping gas, and he got off his car, he looked at my car, and he said something like, wow. And I approached him, I said, nice car, isn't it? He said, yeah. You see, I could have come to this kid and approached him as a customer, but you know what? I saw that kid, and whenever I see someone, I see thousands or tens of thousands of customers behind that person. And what I mainly mean by that is I approach everyone as a business partner. You see, because if I approach someone as a customer, the best thing that could happen is that they become my customer. But if I approach someone as a business partner, the worst thing that could happen is they become my customer. Did you hear the language?
Absolutely.
You see, so everyone, Steve, say everyone.
Everyone.
Everyone you approach, you want to approach them as a business partner and build them. If they decide to come in as a business partner, you're going to get hundreds or tens of thousands of customers through that person. Does it make sense to get paid on hundreds of customers, or would you rather get paid on one customer?
I think I'd prefer the hundreds.
Now, what if, let's play the what if. What if they say no to the business, after you properly peak them into the business? Again, properly is the key word there. Properly peak them into the business by using a third-party edification, edifying somebody else, talking good about somebody else, and let that somebody else explain the business to your new prospect. Once they see that process in place, then and only then they will decide whether they want to do this business or not. If they decide not to do it, then we can turn around and say, you know what, John or Joe or Jim, whoever their name is, you know what, I understand that the business is not for you, but I would really appreciate if you help me out. Now that you know what I'm doing, I need you to help me out and become my customer. I can probably save you money. Will you be okay with you to try my service at no obligation?
Yeah, that totally makes a lot of sense. Angel, I have a question that came up based on your last statement. In the 5 Links process, there's something called sorting, where we have our red apples, our green apples, our rotten apples. Now, and then there's also the statement that's put out there a lot as, not everybody is going to be right for this business. How do you determine who's right, who you should speak with, who you probably shouldn't waste your time with, if when you look at a person, you see thousands of customers on that person no matter what? So should we be telling everybody about this business, or should we be looking for certain types of qualities within this person to better, how could I say, to better make use of our time?
And the answer to that question is yes. It's a funny answer because, yes, you have to approach everyone. You cannot prejudge. And you know what, Steve? At that time, when you approach everyone the proper way, using the proper peak approach, they and only they will determine whether they're good for this business or not. And here's how you identify that. First of all, let's use the proper approach to the proper person. I mean, you cannot talk deregulation, a multi-billion-dollar industry, to someone who has a $20,000 a year mentality. However, I want you to approach that $20,000 a year mentality, and not that there's something wrong with that person, but you have to talk their language. You know, some say that it's working and making $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 a year. I may use an approach like, hey, John or Mary, if there was a way that you can make an extra couple of $100 a month, would you be interested in learning how?
Right.
You know, an extra couple of $100 a month. Would you be interested in learning how? I mean, I cannot go to John and Mary, who's only made like $20,000, $30,000 a year, telling them how to become a millionaire in the first couple of years. That doesn't comprehend in their mind. So the approach will be different to different type of people's level.
Right.
So if you go to a prominent attorney, you're not going to say, hey, Mr. Johnson or Dr. So-and-so, would you, if there was a way that you can make an extra $100 to $200 a month, would you be interested in learning how? You see, yes, everybody wants to make an extra couple of $100, but, you know, it's not to their benefit.
Right.
See, that person that is making 6 or 7 figure income per year in their industry, I may use a different approach. I'll say, hey, Mr. John or Dr. So-and-so, if there was a way that you can capitalize on a $500 billion a year industry, would you be interested in learning how? You see the language? And
right.
Then we will go into the edification approach. I am working directly with the person that's leading the national expansion of a Name 500 company. I would love to put you on the phone with him as soon as possible. When do you have 5 minutes to see the possibility of you capitalizing in that industry? So you see, we use the same second part of the peak interest. So my bottom line is approach everyone. And people have a tendency of just recruiting people that they have control over. You have to also approach your chicken list. And you know who's your chicken list?
Yeah, those are the people that you're scared to.
You're scared. You're
approach.
intimidated by. Those are the powerful ones. Those are your bosses. Those are your doctors, your attorney, the massive people that you look up to. Those are the best people. You know, I had people in my business who had made more money than I ever made. And I approach them, and some of them are doing my business. Like I got this guy Tony in my team. You know, he's very successful business owner. And when I approach him, I met him on the plane. I approach him the same way I approach somebody else. I just used a different language. And guess what? He came in the business. He became a national director in 29 days. As opposed to people that I approach in this business who are not making money, who are looking for an opportunity, and they don't see it.
Right.
You see?
Right.
However, it doesn't mean that someone that is not making money right now, who's struggling through life, who's struggling to make their cellular phone payment, it doesn't mean that you don't approach them, because there's an old saying, every duck knows a stud. Remember that, every duck knows a stud. So people that you know that are not successful, they know you. So imagine, let's reverse the cycle here. Let's say if you approach X person who's not working at the time and really struggling, they know you. What if they were to come in the business and they approach you?
Right.
Now you went ahead and approached your upline, and your upline approached your upline. You see how the reverse cycle came up?
Absolutely.
Nevertheless, key thing here, it's important. Nevertheless, whenever you identify someone and they say, no, I done that before, that thing will never work, you know what? Drop them, let them go. You know, we sort, we don't convince. Amateurs convince, professionals sort.
Amazing, amazing. Great. What would you say is the process for peaking somebody on your chicken list? Now, I know that we'd use similar language for the initial peak, but you wouldn't sit down and have a presentation with your doctor or your lawyer. What would you say is the next step? And for those of us reps who don't have, let's say, an upline who they may be able to call on, may not be in their local area, how would you say it would be the best way to get the information in front of this red successfully? Well,
David, here's what, remember, you know, I'm a participant. I will always go for third person, a third party, a three-way call, and then find somebody else. Take the suit, take the tie and the cape off you and put it on somebody else. You don't want to be the Superman. You don't want to be that one that explains to them the business. Now, you know, if you cannot find someone to match it up there, I mean, you can use third-party documentation, man. You have success from home. You have all kinds of documentation that you may want to put in front of this person and say, listen, you see this person on this magazine. I am working directly with this person. Like, for instance, let's give you an example. Let's say you're working with someone that is, I don't know, a school teacher. And you have the magazine. You will go and look up to Sheena, which was a teacher, very successful. You know, you tell the story. You talk about somebody else. The key thing here, Steve, is that you got to talk about somebody else. Whether you get them on the phone directly with your prospect at that moment, or whether you just talk about them and say and show them a magazine or a lifestyle video and say, listen, I'm working with this person. You see this guy here, Steve? This guy used to be a bus driver. Okay, and he just wrote a book from the bus to the Bentley. I want you to listen to his story because I'm working directly with him. Even if you're not working directly with Stan Richards, you got to tell him because we are all one big family. We're all working with each other. You know, whether your prospect understood that he is working directly, holding your hand, that's one point. But then once they hear a story, once somebody that is very successful, they see other successful people doing this business and people who had not had success in the past doing it, they have an interest. Now, once they have that interest, and if you cannot get to an upline to edify them properly, then you will direct that person step by step, either direct them to a website like 123 Set You Free or get them into a webinar. Whatever you do, make sure it's a process. Don't make it a show, a one-man show business about you presenting the business to them. Even if you can present 100%, Steve, that's not duplicatable.
Amen. I say thank you so much, Angel. That information was so helpful. I know you've just taken my business to the next level, and I know that you've helped many others just now with that information that you've just given us. Golden nuggets, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first. And we put it in the air in under 20 minutes. Listen out for us. Stay tuned. We're going to have more to come. And like I said, we hope that it was definitely a blessing to those that are listening in. 5 Links team, go out there, energize your life, and get your business to the next level.
Thank you so much.